poetry and the influence it might have had, I know about Stephen, but the influence it would have in your life as a director?
Aye, that's a difficult, I couldn't answer that question honestly, that really, you know. I mean, it might have a subterranean, subcutaneous influence, you know what I mean, but William Blake, maybe, that's as far as I would go, yeah.
But there's sort of cinematic poetry, you know, you do describe yourself in the memoir,
no,
it's been described as a poetic realist.
It's not that, but the only thing that really, that you want to achieve in cinema is something approximating to poetry, you know what I mean, the kind of combination of images and accident that suddenly makes magic, but I wouldn't claim to that status myself at all, yeah.
Maybe just one or two more, just yeah.
Thank you. I suppose it's just to share an impact of the work that you've done. And we've already referenced The Butcher Boy tonight, but I had just moved to London in 1998 and was desperately homesick. Yeah. And The Butcher Boy had just come out in the cinema. Okay. And I went to see it, and I'm not saying I identify with Francie Brady, but it gave me a sense of home. And I remember that night phoning my mum and dad from a phone box saying, "You've got to see this picture, it's so good." And I went to see it again. And I suppose my question is, when you're creating a film or something like that, do you have a sense of connection to the diaspora, or what's the creative process?
Well, I didn't grow up in a small town. I grew up in Clontarf, you know, near Dollymount in Dublin. And but when I read The Butcher Boy, I had this immediate kind of connection to it. I think anybody who reads that book has. I don't know what it is. They both know somebody like that boy, and they kind of become that boy in a strange way. But when we made the movie, we made it in Clones. That's where the book was written and set. And Clones had not changed that much because of...
It still hasn't changed.
Are you from Clones?
No, but I go there to Ulster finals and all the rest.
It's changed now, it's different now, I think. Anyway, the border and all that issue kind of left it outside time, you know. So, you know, and I had a big budget from Warner Brothers, would you believe, you know, so I was given a unique opportunity to actually do justice to the book itself, you know, and it was kind of interesting, you know, and to even find the language that the movie demanded, which was a weird thing. It even came down to a style of acting and the kind of brightness of the colours and stuff like that, you know.
And Stephen was amazing in that, by the way. The one mentioned, Sinead O'Connor, absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Just one more, is that okay?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask a question about how difficult it was for you when you started. How did you keep going before you got your break? And I asked that there really on behalf of my son, who's not here tonight, but he's just starting in film. And he finds it really quite tricky to break in. He's got a few jobs, but that's it. And one of the issues he seemed to have is that the same crews move from one film to the next, and it's so hard to break into that. I mean, how did you break in?
Is that here, is it?
Yeah. I mean, there was like How to Train Your Dragon, and the same people would move on to the next film. I mean, do you take your crew with you?
No. Well, I mean, you would if you could, but they're generally busy on other things, you know. But, but I was lucky because I wrote, you know. Yeah. And so the first film that I wrote, you know, I kind of just got the nerve to say, look, I enjoyed writing films so much. I said I realised I had to direct them if I was to continue having this enjoyment, you know. So I was able to say, look, I've written the script and people wanted to make it, so I said, look, you've got to accept me as a director, even if you hate me. You know. Look, it's a tough thing.
Yeah, it's tough.
But any art, being a painter is tough.
Yeah, of course.
I'd say being a poet is even tougher.
Yeah.
Being an actor is easy. Being an actor.
Thanks very much. Look, that's a little glance behind the curtain, really, of Leeds life. You know, it's actually quite very brave to put yourself out there and start revealing things. There's 200 pages there of revelation, and for any of you who want to get a copy of the book, they'll be for sale now in a moment once we wrap up, and Neil will sign a copy as well too. So I'm not sure exactly where that is. Kathy's just outside. Yeah. Okay, but
we go through there.
yeah, we'll take you right inside.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.